Tzu Chi volunteers distribute rice to students from impoverished families. Penang Jing's Books and Cafe breeds humanistic culture into a historical building. Welcome to Dai Headlines. I'm Maggie Tai. Thank you for joining us. Cambodian Tzu Chi volunteers not only host rice distribution for those living in the garbage mountain, more recently they gave 40 kilograms of rice to many students from impoverished families.
Double-checking the students' identification before they are seated to receive aid materials. This is the rice distribution for 432 impoverished students from 2 different universities in Phnom Penh, hosted by Tzu Chi Cambodia Liaison Office.
Over 90% of the students who attend the university in Phnom Penh are from elsewhere. Many come from disadvantaged backgrounds and often go hungry because their families don't have extra money to give them for food. Tzu Chi's rice distribution definitely can alleviate their living expense.
Tzu Chi's arrival isn't only to provide material goods, but also positive influences, such as sign language performances and donations.
Today you receive Tzu Chi's help. When you graduate and enter society, it is hoped that you know how to repay their kindness by giving back to society. It doesn't necessarily have to be in monetary form. You can do good deeds which will also influence society.
Good deeds to influence society has already begun on campus, with male university students lining up to help the female university students with the heavy bags of rice.
When I help the female students with the rice, they all thank me. I don't feel like I did anything great, but they have been very kind to me and it makes me kind of embarrassed. However, I feel quite happy at being able to help someone else.
The school provides disadvantaged students with free rent in a dormitory. We don't have to pay for electricity and water either, but we do need to pay for our own meals. Tzu Chi gave me enough rice to eat for 2 months, and I can then save the money to buy some books.
After the volunteers finished with the distribution, they headed to the hospital to send best wishes to sick patients, wishing them a speedy recovery.
In China's fooding, love is given freely to the residents in need of medical care. Most recently, the free clinic was held in Nanjing Village, where the residents who suffer from degenerative diseases such as high blood pressure will look at and receive some medical advice.
This fishing village, situated on this peninsula, is where Tzu Chi hosts regular free clinics. Senior Yao, who suffered a stroke, is here at the free clinic, and volunteers move him up the stairs without removing him from his wheelchair.
We want to prevent your body from sniffling, so doing rehabilitation is needed. Also, being able to stand on your own strength is important.
I'm needing to exercise more at home to see if I can stand on my own in the future.
Seeing her husband home safely, Yao's wife is grateful. As building hospitals, Deputy Superintendent Cho Wen-bing is from around these parts. Going home takes on a new meaning with these free clinics.
The medical facilities compared to the city is not enough, and the transportation is not easily available. But look at, despite this cold weather, so many residents have come out to the free clinic.
Residents of Shachen Town's Nanjing Village have long relied on the sea for their livelihood. They are laborers whose diets consist of mainly pickled food. Thus, high blood pressure, diabetes, achy bones and muscles are common ailments they face.
Living this seaside area is difficult due to the long journey, so residents here are unable to get very good treatment. Their sickness is often degenerative in nature, so we have brought traditional acupuncture and modern equipment to help treat them. It can also provide some temporary improvement in their symptoms.
Tzu Chi's signature love and care can be seen with the presentation of the tea to the waiting residents, or during their health seminar, or even in the warm-up exercises.
At the end of the year, Fujian Xiamen volunteers visited the scholarship recipients' families. Tzu Chi volunteers provided them with scholarship and care, encouraging the students to practice filial piety to their parents.
Huang Chao's father has to rest at home due to his physical illness. He once worked at a quarry and had pulmonary disease after inhaling too much dust at his workplace.
Do I feel better now? Yes, but recently I often pant. I'm not sure if it is because of the weather.
Since Huang's father couldn't work, her mother has to make a living in farming for supporting the family. Tzu Chi volunteers provided her with scholarship, encouraging her to help wash her father's feet.
好，用手嚟洗洗清皮哦。
這陣間整下先。
唔要緊，唔要緊，那個，咁樣個，少少，咁我遲啲到。
My father raises me up until now. He doesn't have a healthy body, and sometimes I feel like I should grow up soon to take care of him. But I'm still studying at school now.
做水卡的機會第一個，這一個350上年的都使解水，也是在報答爸爸媽媽的養育之恩。水清氣，要水就水清氣啊！有聽無？當然咯。
You have to give your daughter chances to reciprocate so that she has some blessed rewards. People used to say of all virtues, filial piety is the first. This is the best chance for her to gain blessed rewards. You should give her more chance to do so.
I told her to study harder, and when she can take care of herself, she should try to help others as well, since we also received help from others.
Another group of volunteers visited scholarship recipient Oh Xia, who is from a migrant worker family originally from Guizhou. Her parents moved to Xiamen with 3 children, and their life was not easy.
Mother, thank you for understanding my needs and tolerating my selfishness. Since I don't want to study back in our old town, I was willful and insisted to study here. At that time, I even lost my temper and I felt very sorry about what I did to you. But I really want to study here. Thank you for supporting me. Very appreciate your help. Thank you, Mom. I love you.
She is a smart kid. We should try our best to give her a better education environment.
我想乖不乖，媽媽？很乖。
These scholarship students convey their gratitude through serving tea.
你趕快好起來。
Although the amount of scholarship is limited, the volunteers have brought hope to these families in need.
Also in Fujian, the chairperson of the Parent Association at Yangwu Elementary School has deeply touched by the recycling efforts of Tzu Chi volunteers. Therefore, invited Tzu Chi volunteers to share their experiences at the year-end activity.
Learning about the ways to sort recyclables, the children do it quickly. At this recycling activity, there are a lot of people at the PET bottle section.
I place the PET bottle caps here and put the bottles over there. If there is water inside, I'll place them here.
然后如果有水的话，就放这边。知道。那以后还会不会。那你要喝什么？我就喝自己家里的，尽量不要喝外面的。
Parents organize a pile of cardboard boxes in front of them. Among them, Huang Shende removed the tape from the cardboard box. He admits this is the first time he's doing recycling.
We need to do recycling together. It is difficult for one person to accomplish the work. You cannot learn about this kind of activity in class. The children learn best by doing it.
In the past, I bought things frivolously. After coming into contact with Tzu Chi and recycling, I repent for my past wrongdoings. Basically, I will not be wasteful in the future and will set an example for people around me. I hope to inspire people to join the ranks of recycling volunteers.
I have the strong will to inspire children one by one. After coming into contact with us, after being embraced by us, he will feel love and peace of mind.
The students do their part to cherish the earth. The students at Yanwu Elementary School have held a year-end activity to learn about how they can protect the environment.
At Kilo, Mr. Chen couldn't clean his house properly due to his early psychosis and physical challenges after a recent car accident. Therefore, Tzu Chi volunteers, the village chief, and people from the Department of Social Affairs came to care for him.
He's a 40-some-year-old young man but has mobility problems after a car accident. He just threw his dirty diapers on the floor, and his home is a mess and smells very bad.
71 volunteers were fully covered with protective gear. They volunteered passionately under the cold weather.
First of all, I want to thank all of you coming here today under this cold weather and helping. We should utilize this opportunity to clean his house thoroughly, letting this care recipient to break away from hell.
With a year of accumulated trash, volunteers try their best to clean it up since they feel very sorry for his situation.
I was born with a difficult living condition as well, so this is fine. We have masks and cover-ups. It's okay.
Tzu Chi volunteers helped Mr. Chen cut his hair and showered, and saw he was just skin and bones. Meanwhile, the village chef and community workers are planning on further support and caring for Mr. Chen.
People from the Department of Social Affairs have successfully applied the C type of long-term care for him. So from now on, the people from the long-term care program will take over, will clean his place 2 times every week. What the actions of these Tzu Chi volunteers did was very touching.
One of the volunteers, Liu Peijun, studied at Department of Social Work at Tzu Chi University. She and her father, Liu Ruichang, helped clean Mr. Chen's bathroom together. Liu Peijun cherished the opportunity to give and learn alongside her father.
In Georgetown of Penang, Malaysia, historical buildings are protected to retain their original look. How do we revive historical buildings? Let's look at Jing's Books and Cafe's successful example.
Old buildings might not be historic sites. There are several ways to look at it. First of all, the aesthetics of the architecture. Is its historical background related to our societal development?
好像这条街哦，比水土库街是当年是最繁盛的地方，因为都是银行聚集的地方。因为很多的。
For instance, Beach Street was a busy area years ago because there are a lot of banks here. Later, many enterprises moved elsewhere. When they applied for World Cultural Heritage, there are more than 500 abandoned houses. Therefore, the revival of buildings became very important. If we do not repair the old buildings, it's hard to attract people to move here. 10 years after we applied for World Cultural Heritage, the number of tourists has increased. We mainly revive pubs, coffee shops, restaurants, museums, and exhibition halls. Most of these buildings serve tourists. Jing Books and Cafe is located in a building there that was once a warehouse. Turning it into a bookstore is a very good way to revive old buildings.
On this street, Jing Books and Cafe plays the role of the living room in the community. It allows every customer to have a place to sit and contemplate. Jing's Books and Cafe offers all kinds of activities or lectures. At our monthly lectures, every participant can listen to talks on specific topics. At the weekly book club, people can read different books. In the past, this place was filled with students. However, now that there are more cars, restaurants, and coffee shops in the area, students have more places to go. Despite that, on weekends, a lot of people will bring their children here. For the past 20 years, the environment has changed and people have changed. Jing's Books and Cafe has stayed the same. It still offers good books, frequent tea, and a place for customers to enjoy some serenity.
In 2017, the most destructive wildfire task fire broke out in Northern California. The Santa Rosa community was severely affected. Tzu Chi volunteers provided emergency assistance. Later, a mid- and long-term care plan was launched to ensure that the victims can feel at ease and safe.
The day of the fire, I was sleeping with my screen door open. I could smell smoke. I looked up at the moon, and it was red. And then it was like in a Tim Burton movie where this wisp came over and swirled around the moon and the sky turned black. 3 in the morning, bam, 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 my neighbor Judy, she's going, "We gotta evacuate." I'm like, "What?" That's when Equus was all on fire.
One resident that we've been helping, her name is Yvonne Rawhauser. She was insured. She did everything right. She built a nice life for herself at Journey's End. She lived there for more than 30 years. The insurance companies didn't compensate her for her structure. As case managers, we advocate for our clients. One way we were able to help her was with rent assistance. She found a bungalow here in Santa Rosa. It's been her home for the last almost 2 years.
I'm really grateful that I had this little place. And then meeting you, Tzu Chi came in and unconditionally said, "We're here. What can we do for you?" I just don't know how I would have made it through without having Tzu Chi, you know, to just be a sounding board, to be a safe place, to be so generous and giving, and to reinstill in me that hope that goodness is in the world.
Her goal has always been to live in a mobile home again, to own her own home. Our goal was to help Yvonne complete her recovery plan.
Howard called me one day and he goes, "Oh, I got a call from Catholic Charities. Why don't you go check out this little place?" So I met with the realtor. I walked in and it was just like, I'm home. I could be here. I could live here. And that was the first time I felt that in 2 years. Okay, here we go. Ah, it's like a home. Hello.
Congratulations.
This is my new home.
We're here because she just moved in. We can sense love, warmth, exciting, and hope.
I am happy.
New beginning.
And thank you. You know, they showed his heart when it had been so little, and then it got bigger and bigger, and I can feel that. Through the magic of all these wonderful, you know, communities getting together for me, my life has just turned around, and now I have hope again. I'm going to have a home again. I'll be able to open up a new page in my new chapter of the story of my life and start writing another story.
Video games have flourished globally, and Taiwan was no exception. Faced with a large number of players immersed in the virtual world, many game designers are thinking about how to pull people back to the real world through their creations.
In 2019, the global gaming market output value reached $150 billion, with Taiwan people spending $1.26 billion per year, ranking 17th in the world. Each person contributes an average of $150 to this industry annually. Fan Bingling is a professor of digital technology and design in the university and a video game enthusiast since childhood. Born in the 1960s, he experienced the changes in the industry, yet his desire remains. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Pac-Man and Galaga were popular games on the streets of Taiwan. Then Nintendo entered the home living room. In 1990, the computer standalone versions of the games emerged, with the martial arts genre sweeping the market.
The status indicator shows you are about to advance every time you want to stop. This makes you want to keep going, bit by bit. After reaching this level, I want to get to the next level. And every time you play, you have a new goal.
The virtual world is closely linked to human emotions and needs, though there are many challenges to bring a player back to this universe. Students spend 4 months designing color game, the main characteristic being if a player only cares for himself, he can't pass to the next level.
If there's a purple monster, the blue player and the red player have to work together, turning purple together to attack the monster.
Another group of students work on Elf, Brave, Bear, with the game actually involving movement in the real world.
绿蓝要靠着，对，一样的操作，只是它的时限会变比较低，要求比较高。黄蓝，我觉得他对着你们的麦克风喊出上面的羞耻的话。宇宙天地赐我力量，降服恶种，迎来曙光。
You have to hurry up and find your own partner and ask what is needed in this part and then complete it together, instead of playing their own monsters in the same game.
This game requires a lot of communication with our friends. During the game, our friendship can also be enhanced.
Heroes no longer fight alone but work with partners to become more powerful. After 2000, online games and community groups can pull players back to reality. In the world of games, young children can uncover truths, and adults only need to assist and guide them appropriately. Eye-catching small toys at TWPA are created by Lin Sungliang, who was once a mechanical repair technician.
I wanted it to save some resources, so I transformed the recycled toys into new toys.
Mr. Lee retired 10 years ago. When he accompanied his grandchildren, he noticed that modern people made too much waste from toys and electronics, so he used his expertise to transform small parts into science toys.
浮上一沉下来，浮层子。 不能告诉你们怎么样，先拉，拉不行再咪咪饭。好，大力一点哦。好，来。哦，哇！
那我也要这个。
再一次，再一次。好啊，怎么不行？再用一次。打得太小力的就不行了。那部落小朋友咪咪饭不是像他们那个样子的。
In a tribal village, everyone queued up, and everyone was like this. I had so many slaps it hurted.
The principle of floating and sinking has nothing to do with high fives, but Mr. Lee uses imagination to inspire people to think and make a connection. From childhood to youth, kids experience companionship, motivation, cooperation, and competition. All are related to interaction and connection with each other. Perhaps this is the key to future game design, to bring players back to the real world.
Jin's R&D department from Taiwan introduced environmental friendly building material on the UNCOP conference. Take a look and goodbye.